Hello, my name is Ingrid Ceballos, and I am going to talk about the issue racial profiling. What is racial profiling? Racial profiling is a serious and ongoing problem in the United States. It harms not only the people who are targeted, but also police officers and society as a whole. Racial profiling focuses on a person's race or ethnicity, along with only a few other traits like age and gender. Racial profiling is based on the belief that certain racial or ethnic groups are more likely to commit specific crimes. For example, some officers may assume that young black men are more likely to be involved in drug crimes because of past arrest patterns. I will be now talking about the history of racial profiling and how it started. Racial and ethnic profiling has a long history in the United States. During the post-Reconstruction years in the South, white vigilance kept peremptory watch over African Americans, using the Black Codes and vagrancy laws to legitimize their actions. Vagrancy laws were in place for decades after slavery was ruled unconstitutional and prevented a person from wandering, being ideal, or strolling without an explicit purpose. These laws did not specifically target minorities, but because of racial profiling, they were strictly enforced against racial minorities. The same kind of pattern continued later through policies like the war on drugs, which, even though drug use occurs at similar rates across races, has disproportionately affected minority communities through unfair enforcement and sentencing. Why is it an issue and what causes it? The biggest issue with racial profiling is that it unfairly paints entire groups with the same negative image. Even though most people in those groups do nothing wrong, because of this, individuals may feel singled out or judged based on only how they look. Over time, this can make people feel left out, unequal, and worried that they could be treated unfairly at any moment. Racial profiling is a serious moral and social issue because it undermines the ideal that everyone deserves fair and humane treatment under the law. It occurs every day in cities and towns across the country when law enforcement and private security target people of color for humiliating and often frightening detentions, interrogations, and searches without evidence of criminal activity and based on perceived race or ethnicity, national origin, or religion. A cause of racial profiling is that many officers have unconscious beliefs or stereotypes that can influence how they make decisions, even if they do not intend to discriminate, which can affect how they perceive certain groups. This is called implicit biases, which are stereotypes and prejudices that reside on and operate in our minds outside of conscious awareness. For example, when we're making decisions under uncertainty, we tend to use cognitive shortcuts. What might feel like a legitimate hunch to a police officer that could actually be influenced by a racial stereotype. Who is their target? Studies show that law enforcement agencies target people of color for stops, arrest, and incarceration. Law enforcement also target individuals for suspicion of crime based on their race, ethnicity, religion, or national origin rather than on evidence of actual behavior. According to the National Library of Medicine, in the 16 studies they conducted in the United States, England, Wales, and the Netherlands, showed that Black men were the most frequent targets of police stops. Laws and regulations that contribute to racial profiling in policing are racial profiling is prohibited under the 4th and 14th Amendments. The 4th Amendment protects individuals from racial profiling by prohibiting unreasonable searches and seizures, meaning law enforcement must have valid suspicion of behavior and not race. The 14th Amendment ensures equal protection under the law, making it unconstitutional for authorities to target or treat people differently because of their race. Together, these amendments limit discriminatory policing and help guarantee fair treatment for all individuals. A case study that involved racial profiling was the case of George Floyd. The death of George Floyd, a 46-year-old man from St. Louis Park, happened on May 25, 2020, when a Minneapolis police officer, now on his neck, as Floyd repeatedly said he couldn't breathe. This case is often connected to concerns about racial profiling, as many people saw it as an example of base treatment and unequal use of force against Black individuals during police encounters. How does the media portray racial profiling? When it comes to showing reality of racial profiling, the media assigns pieces of information to the public and has a system of emphasis to shape how individuals judge the relevance, importance, and credibility of that information. For example, the case of George Floyd drew a widespread of attention and shaped how people view police behavior. Additionally, minorities are more likely than whites to believe that minorities are treated more poorly by police and that minority communities receive lower quality police services. Negative outcomes of racial profiling. Targeting the wrong individuals can create significant problems within the criminal justice system, including wrongful accusations, wasted resources, and loss of public trust. It can also lead to serious harm for innocent people while allowing actual offenders to remain free. Overall, these policies primarily designed to impact certain groups and are ineffective and often result of the destruction of civil liberties for everyone. Possible solutions for racial profiling in policing are: they include enforcing stronger laws that ban profiling based on race, religion, ethnicity, or national origin and hold officers accountable. Better training focus on bias and behavior-based policing. Also, having independent oversight and better community engagement also play key roles in building trust and preventing unfair treatment. For example, the End Racial Profiling Act, ERPA, aims to reduce and ultimately eliminate profiling based on factors like race, religion, ethnicity, and national origin by law enforcement at all levels. Thank you.